This message is a truly beautiful message, and I actually felt quite emotional before I sat down to record this video. For some people, it's going to be validation of what they're already experiencing, and for others, it's confirmation, a precursor for what's to come. This is a collective level that I've read from the field of light, the body of light that we are all part of, that we are all connected to. And it's coming through as this kind of wave of love, this wave of soul recognition, with this feeling of a proud parent that is the source of creation. And I feel truly honored to actually deliver this message. It's been coming through for a while, and it is no small deal. This is a big deal. And it's all about this revelation that is occurring within the body of light, where we are, as one unified body, remembering truth. That is quite funny because the body of light is the body of truth. Light is truth. And it's like the body of light is remembering who it is. And on an individual level, this looks like each of us beginning to recognize who we are as a soul and what we need. And we're starting to realize that every exploration of misalignment, that can be called a challenge, that can be called a hardship, a struggle, every suffering has actually just been this exploration of misalignment that's actually been perfectly orchestrated, miraculously orchestrated, because it's like a toxic relationship that I'm sure we've all experienced, right? Where it's like incredibly hard and incredibly difficult. And on one level, we wish that we never had to go through that experience. But we always come out of it with clarity, because we realize what we need by realizing what we don't need. We realize what's good for us by experiencing what's not. And so we're beginning to see, the body of light is beginning to see and realize that every single experience that we've gone through, especially the hard ones, especially the challenges, have been perfectly orchestrated, divinely orchestrated, to take us on this journey of kind of forgetting our divinity and kind of neglecting and abandoning our soul momentarily. Because that experience was always going to guide us back to remembering, wait a minute, this isn't right. This is not true. This is not it. There's more to life. And so we start to reclaim our soul truth, our authenticity. And it's that authenticity, that soul truth of recognizing what we need, what our soul needs to thrive, to feel safe in this world, to feel belonging in this world. That authenticity is what aligns us with what we can call the dimension of heaven. It is a state of being that is being awakened, reclaimed, and anchored on this planet that we can call heaven on earth. We can call this the new earth. And truly, we are at this threshold where things are shifting in such a big way that these penny drop moments, these epiphanies, these breakthroughs, they're not just yours. They're ancestral and they're collective. As I say that, I've got full body chills. These breakthroughs are so big. And that's why so many of us have had to go through the same lesson again and again and again in different ways. But we can start to see that actually every lesson has been this abandonment of the soul, this momentary forgetting, abandonment of our soul. That's basically what it's been. Because even though that's really difficult, and we actually become ill from that experience, but that's been the whole point. And that actually begins to heal this innate mistrust in God, this innate mistrust in the love of Creator, of creation, of life. When we have experienced so much struggle and suffering, it's really hard to trust life. We begin to kind of feel forgotten about or rejected or abandoned by life, by God, however we want to say it. But when we start to see that actually we've just been learning this master lesson all together, the body of light has ultimately been working through this master lesson of soul abandonment, soul forgetfulness, in order to remember. It's slightly weird that we have to go through that, but that's what brings soul refinement. That through kind of exploring what doesn't work and what feels wrong and off, we're not just remembering what works and our soul truth, but we're also building trust in our intuition, because we can see through those experiences where we've momentarily abandoned our soul, there were always signs. And a lot of those signs were internal feelings and sensations, because our bodies never lie, our nervous system never lies. And so for a lot of us, this is healing our intuition. That is also part of this great shift, this planetary shift, this anchoring of heaven and earth that is much more guided through the intuition. This is what we can call kind of the reclaiming of the divine feminine. It's living through and trusting and building a relationship with Creator, with creation, with the flow and force of creation through our intuition. That is woven through our nervous system, woven through our body, and we're beginning to recognize how it's becoming more and more obvious when we abandon our soul. And it might just be really a subtle nuance in a conversation where we might fall into judgment or comparison or doubt or fear. Whatever it is, it might just be this subtle moment, but we're beginning to catch those moments more and more, and we're beginning to feel this misalignment more and more. And that can feel a little bit overwhelming at times. And sometimes, we can put this pressure on ourselves to kind of be perfect. But I think part of this message is just remember that it's always perfect. And that doesn't mean that we can bypass and constantly just make excuses for ourselves and not change. But what this means is we don't have to punish ourselves. We don't have to feel impatient, because it's all part of this greater process. It's all part of the love of God. This ultimate love of God that we can call this miraculous orchestration. As we've experienced all of this misalignment and this momentary forgetting of who we are and our truth and our soul needs. But that's all been part of this journey guiding us back into our authenticity. And we start to see, well, actually, if I hadn't had that experience of misalignment, I wouldn't really know what true alignment was. As weird as that sounds, it's like we almost have to experience momentary forgetfulness, momentary soul abandonment to experience what it feels like and what it looks like to live out of alignment. Because we're remembering what true alignment is. We're remembering what authenticity is. And this is all part of claiming our sovereignty and living in a way that honors our soul. And so, yeah, this is no small deal. This is huge. It's monumental. This is actually the foundation of what is creating this shift, this planetary shift from what we can call the dimension of perpetual suffering, the dimension of hell, moving into the state of harmony and trust, where we remember what we can call the love of God. That is this intelligence that's always providing us exactly what we need. And just start to see how every lesson, every single lesson that each and every one of us are going through, it's part of this master lesson. But it's happening on such a big level now, and that's how this message started to come through, right? It came through as this wave of loving recognition from the source of creation. It was like, you're doing this. It's happening. This is real. This is truly happening right now. And what's on the other side of this is so much more profound than any of us can comprehend. And the beautiful thing about this shift is as soon as we start to actually remember our soul and live in an honoring of our soul essence and our soul frequency, it just feels so good that it's almost in an instant, all of the pain and suffering that we've gone through, it's kind of like in the perfection, in the recognition of the perfection of all of it, it's like we just instantly detach. And so we don't hold on to the old stories and the old pain of all of it, because we see actually it's all been perfect, and actually it's all been divine, and actually it's all been part of this incredible design and curation and orchestration of the living light of God, the living light of creation that is actually true love. And yes, sometimes we have to experience really, really hard things in order to remember what is true. And actually, we start to see how that journey, it is a journey of love. It's like we only can really see the light and reclaim the light through the darkness. And there's just a huge peace and a huge letting go and a huge detachment. And as I said, if you're not quite there yet, this message, it's not coincidence. It's found you because you're part of this body of light. And there's something so grounding and stabilizing in that, because when we know that we're not alone in this journey and we're actually all on this lesson, that is this master lesson, it doesn't matter what your struggles have been or what your challenges have been, just know that you're not doing this alone. We've each and every one of us explored so much pain and so much hardship, because all of us together are remembering what truth is. And this is empowering our intuition. It's empowering our relationship with Creator, with God. It's healing the core wound that is this mistrust in life, this mistrust in God. And it's preparing us to receive our divine inheritance, which is aligned with this frequency of heaven. And it's so much more than we can fathom and believe. But just know, if you're receiving this message, if you're still here listening to this, you have blessings coming. And you know, I don't just speak words in these messages. These are messages that I receive from the field of light that is God. I receive this directly from God. And the blessings that you have coming, they're beyond what you would ever have imagined for yourself. And this is, again, something that I speak into a lot in these videos in this channel, because we start to see this difference between kind of this new age law of attraction manifestation teaching versus what it is to come into alignment as a co-creator, what it is to be empowered as part of the body of light that is surrendered to the light and not trying to control our reality, but actually learn from it and become in awe of it. And it's from that foundation that actually we begin to align with joy and peace and fulfillment, right? Which is actually at the core of what everybody wants and what everybody seeks. But it doesn't need to come through force. Nothing actually true comes through force. Everything true comes through this kind of surrendered co-creational process. As we surrender to God, we surrender to light that is truth, that is reminding us through this exploration of misalignment to help us to remember what is true, what is aligned, and what is authentic. So I'm going to leave that there, but I'm just sending you so much love, and I just want you to feel this energy of proudness, because what you're doing and what you've done is no small deal. And sometimes it feels like nobody's seen what you've done, what you've moved through. Nobody's seen the alchemy. But that's actually not true. The living light that is Creator, that is God, that is this intelligence, has seen it all. And very soon, and when I say very soon, I'm speaking about on a planetary level. So be patient, but it's coming. And very soon, you will understand why you had to go through everything you've gone through. And you will understand how that's cultivated you and allowed you to develop the gifts that you're here to share with the world. And this breakthrough is coming with not just abundance, but so much clarity and so much inner peace that comes with self-knowing, that comes with this innate trust in life. And when we anchor that, it's just like, well, that is truly the foundation of heaven. We're not living from this survival state. We're moving into this innate trust in life, and it's just so beautiful. And there's more messages coming through, but for now I'm going to leave that there, and it's just to put words to this process that I see is this overarching lesson, this overarching journey that we're on together as this body of light, as this family of light. And I always share a prayer that can help with this process and unlock this process. And it's just to live in this constant communion with God, with source, with creation, with light, constantly and continually asking to receive God's validation, which is basically asking to see ourselves through the lens of God, starting to recognize our divinity, because everything comes from that place. Everything comes from that place. All the manifestations, all the peace, all the happiness, all the joy, all the fulfillment, all the abundance, it comes through us reclaiming our Christed identity. That is by recognizing who we are as divine souls. That is the foundation of heaven on earth. That is the foundation of living in alignment. So we can constantly ask for this validation, and it's just miraculous. Honestly, I'm sharing this prayer more and more with people, and just their response and their experience, it's profound, it's mind-blowing, and mine as well. It's like we start to enter this very personal communication and this very personal relationship with creation and creator, where we feel so seen, where we feel so known, and that is so healing. Each and every one of our kind of communications and our communion, it's going to look different. But I always invite people to share in the comments and just share your experience and your process. And that's not necessarily for me, although I love reading those and I love connecting to you guys, but it's also for the family of light that is guided to this channel and who's watching these videos and who reads the comments. And, you know, part of the purpose of this channel and part of my calling is to just show up and put words to these processes, to deliver these messages for the body of light, for the family of light, so that we feel belonging. That's all part of the healing this core wound, where we felt so alone in this world, and we're starting to plug back into this divine circuitry. When we start to feel that we're part of this body of light that moves through this journey as one, it's part of the homecoming. This homecoming and this anchoring of this new dimension that we can call heaven on earth, it's a very multidimensional experience. And we as souls, we're multidimensional. The way that we work together as one living body of light, it is so multidimensional and profound. But what I've been shown is that when we identify through the world of aloneness, where we kind of carry the burdens of our lives and we kind of feel like we've been forgotten about, or that we start to really identify and take the hardships and the struggles really personally, and we start to kind of believe that we're a failure, and we start to think that, you know, nothing just works out for us. We're not seeing the bigger picture, and that actually makes us ill. It makes us unwell. But when we start to reconnect to the family of light, the body of light, and we realize that everybody's going through this together, and we're all here to anchor heaven on earth, that is incredibly healing. On all levels, it starts to heal sickness, the sickness of the soul. And so, yeah, this is a huge revelation. You're going to just continue to see all of the soul abandonment. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't punish yourself. Don't feel like you need to be perfect. It's actually all a really good sign when you start to see the misalignment, when you start to see how much you've abandoned your soul. And don't worry, because we've all done it. This planet has ultimately abandoned our divinity, and we've forgotten truth. So yes, this is a huge deal. This is a huge shift and transformation. But the fact that you're seeing it is a sign that you're moving past it. And I always say that with kind of healing, and when we start to seek God's validation, some of it's incredibly beautiful, and some of it reveals where we've abandoned ourselves, where we've abandoned our soul. But it's not to kind of go back into that story, because it's so easy for the ego to kind of go back into the story. But just remember, you're being shown it because you're detaching from it. It's like, imagine when you're in an airplane, right? Or you're a bird from above and you're viewing things from above. It's so much easier to see everything, right? It's easier to see the layout of the city. It's easier to see the layout of the earth. Rather than when we're in it, we are just in it and we can just see this very limited perspective. So when we go through this process of God's validation, when you're working with this prayer, and I really do encourage and invite you to work with it on a daily basis, because the way that God will start to validate you and remind you of your divinity and your truth, it's just like that, being that bird. It's just like being that kind of higher view perspective where you start to see your life from a different angle. And yeah, sometimes it's not comfortable where we see how much we've abandoned our soul, but it's not to go into the fear of it and the pain of it. It's just to start to see that actually now I can see it. It's because I'm detaching from it. And that's us starting to integrate our soul perspective. It's starting to see ourselves through the lens of God. When we pray for God's validation, we pray to see ourselves through the lens of God, through the eyes of God, through the lens of Creator. We start to see ourselves from different perspectives. And so just know that part of that is seeing this pattern, this journey of soul abandonment. But it's not because you are lost in it anymore. It's actually the opposite. It's because you're detaching from it. So I am going to leave it there now. And yeah, just sending you so much love.